Welcome to Midlife Matters. I'm Marie, and each week I'm joined by my friends Julie and Mindy to talk about all the topics keeping women in the middle years up at night. Today we're talking about designing your year. Join us as we share what we hope to accomplish this year and as we inspire each other to plan ways to achieve our goals. Let's get started. Listeners, today we're talking about designing your year. And we got this idea from the Happier podcast, where Gretchen Rubin encourages her listeners to come up with a word of the year and also 25 things you'd like to see yourself do this year. And Julie, you're the one that brought this idea to us. So what about both of these exercises appealed to you?
Oh, everything. Everything
Really?
about this appealed to me. You're going to die when you see my 25.
Okay.
25. I just loved that she says on her website that she gives you this trifecta of tools to help you achieve your goals. And she said they're not New Year's resolutions, because I don't usually make those. Think of them more like aims, things you're aiming toward that, match the things you're interested in. And I don't know, I just love a list. I love marking things off lists. So this was just a really fun exercise for me.
Okay. And how long do you think it took you to come up with your list? Like, did you work on it for days, a week?
I started before my trip, maybe a couple of days. And then I was thinking over a week, thinking about it. And then I finalized it this morning. So she said that, some people just like to type up a list. Mm-hmm. But if you go to her website, she has some things you can print off. And she had one that was a bingo board. Mm-hmm. And this year was perfect for bingo because it was a 5x5.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So I love a game. Mm-hmm. So I made up the...
Yeah, look at that. Julie has a bingo board.
It's color-coded. Yeah. And so all my green ones are travel related. My pink ones are relationship. And so you can kind of see, what you want to accomplish. And I thought it was really fun. So, and I will say that Gretchen and her sister both said they've never completed their whole list, that's not the point, that it was just to kind of keep things up front in your mind, that, sometimes things get put on the list for next year or even 2 or 3 years to accomplish. So it's not about checking everything off, but I'm hoping that it'll just keep it on my mind.
Well, I love this, Julie, and I will say that I'm very interested in your list because I'm still brain dead at this point in the year, and so I couldn't even come up with 25 things. But Mindy, when you were given this topic, did it appeal to you? Was it difficult for you?
I hate it. No, everything about it. I'm listening to Julie talk. I'm I'm so glad she went first. By the time Julie finished talking, I thought I need to hire Julie as my life coach. She literally pulled out the color-coded bingo card. I would never do that. I aspire to do something like that. Everything about my personality rejects this idea. I hated it. I don't like thinking of one word. I've always made fun of the people that do it. And then when Julie brought this up, I'm like, Bryce, you're never going to believe what we're doing. And he laughed so hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm doing the thing I've always made fun of other people doing.
That is so funny.
It made fun of other people in admiration because it is not me. However, after I got past rip the Band-Aid off and actually tried to think about it, it's a very effective exercise. And can I say, I'd really like to finish this podcast because I can't stop thinking about it until we finish recording today. So hopefully I can turn my brain off again after we're done recording today. But I cannot stop processing what my word is and what my 25 things are and changing the things on the list. I literally need to let this go after we're done.
Wow. Okay. And the thing that I think about, Mindy, when you say that is several years ago, you said, I don't read self-help books.
Yes.
And now Mindy reads self-help books. So I think next year she's going to lead the way in the 26 and 26.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I appreciate the faith that you have in me, Julie.
I do.
I listened to both the episodes. So she has an episode. You can easily find it on her list of episodes of the Happier podcast. But I think one was all about word of the year and then one was about their lists. And I was completely overwhelmed. Word of the year maybe isn't quite so hard, but 25 things. I did like I don't listen to that one every year. So the last time I listened to one of them, I don't remember them doing this. I did like that they broke it up into categories. So just like you said, Julie, like you have travel ones, relationship ones. That would tend to make it easier for me. Like if someone said, I want you to pick 5 things to do under these 5 areas, then I could probably do it. But I didn't even know what the 5 areas would be. So I have like 3.
Oh my goodness.
Julie, we need help.
But this is like a good thing because listeners are going to listen to this with 0 on their list. So I feel like we'll just all become inspired. Mindy and I will become inspired as Julie talks, and then listeners will become inspired at the same time, and we'll all learn together today.
Yes.
I do think it helps to hear other people's ideas.
Right.
And I love that they said it's almost like a little short story about the person. You know, you really get to know somebody when you know what they're aiming for, you know, and what they hope to accomplish. So,
well, isn't that though one of the hard things? Because you do get to know someone if you know what they're aiming for. But so many times the question is, what are your goals? And I can't even think of what I'm aiming for. Is it because I don't know myself, or I don't know? But that question in and of itself stops me in my track, and I have a difficult time moving forward. So this is going to be a good exercise for me.
Yeah, I'm not a goal. I know, Mindy, you said you and Bryce sit down and you do like long-term goals, short-term goals, immediate. I've never done that. John never did that. And I don't even know how to do that. But I saw this differently. I don't know why.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm curious.
I like that you're energized by it. I'm excited to hear your list too.
Okay, well, before we do our list, maybe we should do our words, because I think all 3 of us did come up with a word. I'm not ready to get mine engraved on any piece of jewelry or artwork. Like
no tattoos.
No, I mean, some people are really definitive and settled on their word. I just have like a vague idea that this might be my word. But who is like ready to put it down?
Well, I will say I did have more trouble with the one word theme than I did my list. I've not always done the word, you know, kind of hit or miss every year, but I did have a word this year, and it's refresh.
Okay.
And I kind of thought of it in several ways, like the definition is to give new strength or energy, to revitalize. And you always think of needing refreshing after depletion, you know, and so I think that was 2024 for me. And well, actually since 2021. And so I thought of it that way. And then, you know, you can refresh your screen or your phone, or, you know, you can make it new, kind of like a refresher course, or refreshing your memory. And there's some things I want to learn this year. So I thought, well, that applies to that, because some of my aims were education wise. And then I thought of it like refilling a drink when you're at a restaurant and they say, can I refresh your drink? And they fill it up. So I'm just ready to be filled up and pour into myself things that I want to improve or accomplish or enjoy.
Yeah.
So it was a good fit. And I looked up in the New Testament the Greek word. I won't try to pronounce it, but it has 2 parts, and when you put them together, the meaning means to breathe again or to revive the soul. So I just thought that was a good fit for me this year.
I like that.
That is beautiful. Yes.
And there is a verse. Hold on, one more thing. Jeremiah 31:25, because Mindy, you mentioned picking a verse. So I looked up to see if there was a good verse that went with refresh, and that verse is, for I will satisfy the weary soul, and every languishing soul I will replenish. And that could also be refresh.
That is so beautiful. That's just, it's like a relaxing breath, like to hear that.
Yeah.
Even just to hear the word refresh. I like the word. I guess I'll go next because I need to go ahead and tell you about this so I can let it go. Because you guys, I had so many different words. I was like, "Ooh, I could pick this. Oh, I could pick this." I went my gratitude walk this morning. I was like, I just need to go walk and let the Lord show me, tell me, focus my mind on what word, because I have a really hard time picking one. But I was able to finally narrow in on one. And I'll preface my word with, I have felt recently either very, very old or very, very young. I'm at a stage in life where depending on who I'm with or what activity I'm doing, there's no in between. I don't feel middle-aged. I feel very young or very old, like decrepit old. And with what is about to happen with Nathaniel getting closer to picking a college and senior year and things like that, I almost feel like we're at the beginning of life. Like the second half is being realized. Like I see it coming. And so with that in mind, my word is look. The reason I love the word look is I want my eyes to look to the author and the perfecter and the finisher of my faith. I want to see what God is doing. I have two verses that really kind of encapsulate the thoughts around this word look. Because not only is this a spiritual discipline, which I've jumped into first, but this is also kind of a physical discipline. I want my eyes to see what God is doing, but I also want my eyes to see the things that are going to bring life. I don't want to look at things that are going to tear me down. I don't want to look at things or pay attention to things that are going to make me stumble with my health, with my mood, with my attitude, and my relationships, in every physical way. I want my eyes to be able to see the things that are going to bring life. So my first verse is Isaiah 43:18-20. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in a desert and streams in the wasteland. And then the other verses that I've been gravitating to are Hebrews 12:1-2. This immediately follows Hebrews 11, which is the chapter on faith, all of major acts of faith and surrender. And then it comes straight into Hebrews 12, verse 1. Therefore, since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. There's just so much incorporated in all of those verses. But I chose the word look so that I could spiritually, mentally, physically think about looking to God and anticipating what he's going to do in this year.
I love that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I love that verse in Isaiah 43. I'm going to have to, I feel like that could fit my word as well.
It does.
I just got back from the desert and I just had so many metaphors running through my mind of being in a real desert and looking for refreshment. And we even went to Death Valley and I just couldn't help but think about the valley I've been in and with literal death, and just how when you would come upon an oasis of refreshment, it was just, I don't know, you just long for it in the desert to be refreshed. So I have to look for refreshment. That's a good word too.
I love it. Now we've got to see what Marie chose here.
Yeah.
Well, I chose the word balance, and I think I'm not sure exactly how that word just started coming to my mind, but I think it covers a lot of different things. I looked up the actual definition of it. It can actually be a noun or a verb. And so for a noun, it's an even distribution of weight, enabling someone or something to remain upright and steady. And then for a verb, it is to keep or put something in a steady position so it does not fall, or to offset or compare the value of one thing to another. And I guess maybe the even distribution of weight in the noun part, and then under the verb part, the offsetting or comparing the value of one thing to another is what appealed to me, because I feel like there is a lot of balancing and there can be a lot of good things, but what is the best thing and how do you determine what has value for you in your life over another thing? Like for some people, someone might put more value on one thing and you put more value on the other. So sometimes it's a matter of even deciding what is of value for you and then trying to balance those out. And I think that it's like an aim or a goal. I don't think you can achieve perfect balance, because there's so many other people and circumstances around you. But if you can aim for that. So this is just a small example, but I have already committed to doing something the week of 4th of July, but now another good thing has come in and I'm trying to decide which one would be better. And they're both good and they both involve family, which is a high priority. And they both involve travel and they both involve new experiences. And it's like, well, how do you pick? And then my side word was stretch because, yes, I want to be balanced, but I also know that my tendency is not to stretch myself. And so should I be stretching myself and try to do both? Or should I be in balance and just pick one? You know what I'm saying? Like they're kind of against each other. And so I don't know, but there's a lot of things like that in life. That's an example that has come up this week, but it's only the second week of January. So there'll be things that come up all the time, big and little, where I have to compare the value of where you spend your time. And even like you were talking about relationship goals, Julie, like you have to weigh, okay, which things are meeting the relationship goals. My daughter is doing something really clever in her life this year. I don't think she would mind me sharing. She felt like she was just saying yes to everything and everybody. So she kind of made tiers of people in her life. And like, it can be an immediate yes if you're in like the top tier. And it can be like, I'll get together with you in 4 to 6 weeks if you're in like a middle tier. And it's like, okay, it might be like 8 weeks if you're in a third tier. Because as she's added more kids and more things going on in her life, it was just feeling like, like an example was that she had the day after Christmas, a family coming over for dinner. And she's like, why did I schedule that? Like, this is not one of my close friends. 2 months ago when we decided on this, I guess Christmas seemed a long way away, but now I'm completely depleted. And I should know that the day after Christmas, I'm not going to feel like having company outside of family.
So you said a family, not family.
No, not her family, like just an acquaintance, basically an acquaintance. And she was like, I need more boundaries or ways to say no, not because you don't want to spend time with people, but because of balance, because it can get out of whack. You can be having to say no to things that you really should be saying yes to because you've allowed these secondary things to creep in. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I like that because you want to leave room to say yes to the most important.
Yes,
the most important people. Yeah.
I do love your word too, Marie, because it's ironic. Like I see so many ways that touches, every part of our lives. And ironically, like there's a couple of physical moves that I teach when I'm teaching fitness classes or training. And ironically, any move that is a balance move and you're shifting weight from, one part of your body to another. One of the things that I naturally say is fight for it, like fight for balance. And that's one of the things that I'm saying as an encouragement, because you really do. Like, it's not natural. Everything in you wants to, put both feet down, but maybe you need to hold one foot up, or maybe you're holding a foot and an arm up. I mean, you have to fight for balance. It doesn't come naturally. And so I appreciate that, like in life. To pick your battles, really pick what you're going to fight for and put effort into. And so, I like that word.
And your example of exercise class is coming to mind because when I've done exercise classes before, I know that they'll have you balance and try to do things on one foot and stuff. And they'll be like, we have to do this because as we get older, we get worse at balance. Like we lose our balance. And I do feel like the older you get and the more things you have in your life, the more out of balance you can get.
Right.
Yeah.
The juggling.
Well, I wrote down all your words because it's going to be fun to see, throughout the year.
Yeah.
Fun for you.
How you're aiming towards that.
Well, I was laughing because Mindy's like, I just want to get through with this episode so I don't have to think about this anymore. I think the idea is that you do keep on thinking about it throughout the year.
Julie's like, I'll write these down and remind you. It's super fun.
Since you don't want to think about it, I'll think about it for you.
It's good. This is good for me. Just like the self-help books. They are good. I'm glad you guys challenge me. This is a challenge.
Okay. Well, Julie, why don't you get us and our listeners inspired on your color-coded bingo card? Because I need inspiration. And I'm going to get my paper next to me, and it might bring to mind things that I would also like to do.
Agreed. I'm piggybacking off of Julie, too.
I can go through all 25 if you want.
Yes.
So I kind of thought about relationships, and I kind of spaced these across my card so that if I got a bingo, it might be one was from travel, one was from relationships, one was from a task. They're not just all in a row. So I said I wanted to FaceTime more with my grandkids. I wanted to continue letter writing with my grandson, Ezra. I want to visit Molly's family every season. And, and I was doing that. And then I had to stop. So I want to pick that back up. And that might mean us going on vacation together, but I want to travel to her house more. I want to add more chapter books to the Yoto, which is the little story thing that I record me reading a book and Ezra can listen to it. So, I need to add books for Liam. So I want to do that. Okay, Marie, you're going to like this one. I want to solidify a 4-person pickleball group.
Really, Julie? You're ready to get back out there?
But I'm not. I just want a small group.
Yeah.
I'm not ready for the whole socialization thing so I'd love to have a regular group I played with like once a week or twice a week.
I think that's a good goal.
Yeah. And so that is a relationship thing and kind of a health thing. So, and then I thought of kind of an education category, and this would be anything I was going to research or learn more about. And this is probably my biggest thing on my whole list. And I'm going to start the Colson Fellowship, but it doesn't start till August. But I don't know if you know who Chuck Colson is. And he started several programs after his prison ministry, and it's kind of a worldview study. And after he passed away, they called it the Colson Fellowship. And it's a 9-month intensive. And you don't graduate, but you get commissioned at the end. And so I'm going to do that.
And what would you do at the end? Like once you're commissioned, what are you able to do?
Well, you do self-study weekly. Then you meet monthly in a cohort. And there's 2 or 3 that meet in Nashville. And then you have live webinars. And then at the very end, they have you kind of formulate a mission plan, like where your gifts and talents intersect with all that you've learned. And like, it's basically teaching the church to be the church and in the culture, like learning to recognize worldviews and then see how it matches up with a Christian worldview, and then how to deal with kind of cultural flashpoints, like hot topics in the culture. And you just read a lot of great books and you hear a lot of great speakers. So that's my big thing. I want to do some research on investing. I just read Surprised by Oxford by Carolyn Weber, and the movie's out right now. And I just want to read other books by Carolyn Weber. I liked her a lot. So that's on my list.
Okay.
And I want to find a charity that I want to help support. And then I want to learn 5 clean recipes for dinner.
Ooh.
Because I did breakfast for the last several months, and now I need to work on dinner.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're doing good with breakfast?
Yes,
I've
got breakfast down. Yeah.
Good.
So I need to move on to dinner, which seems harder. So, and then I had a creativity category. Okay. So I'm going to keep making my beeswax candles. I want to frame all my Christmas watercolors and make a gallery wall. I saw this at a friend's house. Her dad painted watercolor Christmas cards for their family every year, and she had them all framed just alike on this entry hall wall, and it was so pretty. And I thought, I think I should do that with mine. And then one goal was to paint my Christmas card for next year before Halloween. And then I'm going to set up a little watercolor station. And they talked about this on the Happier podcast, that convenience promotes habits. If you want to break a habit, you make it inconvenient. and if you want to develop a habit. So instead of getting all that out on my island and making a big mess, I'm just going to set a little card table up in the hall where it's sunny and bright, and I can just keep it out and go up there and, work for 5 or 10 minutes a day or however long I want.
Mm-hmm.
And then my adventure one is I want to plan a trip with my kids to New England, and this is to disperse John's ashes. And I have started working on that. I want to camp at the Red River Gorge with my cousins. We saw them on New Year's Day, and they said they'd love to have me join them camping. That's near Lexington, Kentucky. I want to kayak to Burgess Falls. That was on my list last year, and I didn't get to it. I want to plan an international hike, not for this year, but just start, looking at it. And then I want to camp with Girl Camper. And I actually am. I'm camping in Estes Park in June with them. So
nice.
Wow.
So even though that was already paid for and scheduled, I still put it on here, because I like checking things off.
Right.
And then the last category was just kind of a task, and I need to sand, paint, and prime my little picket fence in front of my house. I need to rehang a broken porch curtain that's been broken for a year. So I put that on the list. I need to declutter my garage. And I want to find a show that I'm always watching, because I just finished 6 seasons of a show, and I loved that I had something every night to get in bed and look forward to, and watching a show and following it, So I want to always be doing that, even if it's just one show. And I said, start watching through a top 100 movies list. John had kind of started doing that, like the top 100 movies ever made, and kind of start watching through that. And then lastly, volunteer with Eli's House in a New Way. And that's a ministry here in Franklin that our neighborhood and our church support. And I want to get more involved with that. So that was 25 things.
That went way too fast. I'm going to need you to slow down and explain some of those.
All right. Well, I will go next because I only have a handful of items.
Take your time.
I do feel more inspired after listening to yours, Julie. I did have the podcast examples, but I don't know. I just needed like a real life person examples.
Yes.
Well, they're not all big things.
Right. Right. So, okay. So things on my list. The first one that I did agree with, and Gretchen Rubin said she puts it number 1 on her list every year. And I am so bad. I have not done a photo book since 2019. She says she puts keep up with her photo books because that's what keeps her accountable. But I need to just put catch up with my photo books. Like I am, very, very far behind. I got stuck on 2020 because it was like, what do I want to include? This was like kind of a bummer year. Like I don't want it to look like, I don't want it to even look like it was 2020. And so I just kind of got stuck on 2020. And then, I don't know, I found it hard to pick back up. Every year that goes by, I think I need to do that. So that is number 1 on my list, is catch up with photo books. All right. Then I really did like her idea. She talked about her watercolors, and she talked about setting up a spot to do it. And I had done a painting for my son and daughter-in-law as a housewarming present in the fall. And I had done it at the kitchen table. And then I had done one other small one for myself. But having it at the kitchen table in various spots around the kitchen, the supplies, is not conducive to just sitting down and doing. And so I actually just this morning before we got on found this big basket that was just sitting in my closet. And I emptied what was in it, and I put my supplies in there, and then I put it in the corner of the dining room. I don't think it'll stay there, but it's kind of in a corner that you only see if you're actually like walking through there. And I just need to be able to pick up a basket and take it where I'm going to go instead of going to like 4 different spots to get things out. And so I really did like that idea. And along that lines, it was just making my home more user friendly. Like a lot of times, even if I want to sit down and read my Bible or something, it's not by the chair that I usually sit by, and I don't feel like getting up. It's cold, a blanket on, and the TV remote is right next to me. So that seems to be a much more easier thing to do than go find my stuff. And if something's difficult, you don't want to do it. So like I need to have things where I am. And maybe I need to have like duplicate copies even of something, because maybe I might be downstairs on the couch in my bedroom, but maybe I'm upstairs. And when time or the inspiration hits, if I had something next to me, I'm more likely to follow through than if I have to get up, go find it. So just making my home more user-friendly, like having what I need where I actually do things would probably be helpful.
Convenience.
Yeah.
Yes.
So another one was, I guess this wasn't really a goal, but I really liked what she's had to say about this. And I feel like it might have been in the word of the year thing, but she talked about use it or lose it. So what do you still want to be there? Like when things are used, they're more worthy of support. So she was talking about even things like out in your community. And I guess I would like to identify some things that I really do like and would like to participate in, but I don't use them currently. Like I've lived here for over a year and I have never once gone down to the farmer's market on Wednesday nights and picked up my dinner like I said I would before I moved in. Or done really anything down there. But yet I really do love that they have that come to our neighborhood every week, but I don't use it. I really have thought to myself for a while that I would like to see a show or two at TPAC, which is our Tennessee Performing Arts Center downtown. And we did take my granddaughter one last year, Frozen, but I would like to see one with Steve and I. Like, I feel like that would be fun for us to do, but we never identify one, get tickets, plan the night. But that's an example of use it or lose it. Like if people aren't using live theater, it might not stick around. So I need to identify some things that I love the idea of, but I don't actually participate in them.
Well, we need to start going to the movies again, because that was one thing, that I was so sad in 2020, the thought of movies going out of theaters and not, just live streaming at home is not the same. So, I like going to movies because I want them to stay around.
Yeah. And so those were pretty much, another thing that I do have on my list, and this is how slow I've been about this. So we read this book called The Many Lives of Mama Love in our book club at the end of last year. And it's about a suburban woman who gets involved in drugs. And so she starts stealing from people in her neighborhood and, just kind of goes down a life of crime. And she ends up in jail. And then she has to win custody of her child back. And she talks about how hard it is to even leave prison and then get a job and get housing. And she just talked about a lot of it. And it was such an inspiring book. It's a true story. And everybody in our book club loved it. And I even said, is there any way to volunteer with women in this situation? And I even said that. And there is one woman in my book club who is obviously a lot more goal-oriented than I am, because I got a call from the Tennessee Women's prison coordinator this week asking if I would give a reference for her. Like she had put me down as a character reference. And so I, of course, gave her a great character reference. And then before we hung up, I said, can you tell me a little bit more about your organization? Because I meant to actually think about reaching out on how I would volunteer. I said, we read this book. I think this is where my friend got the idea. And I never did one thing about it. And so I said, could you describe what your organization does? And then she said she would send me an email with, different things you can get involved in. And I guess my aim would be to open that email and really look and follow the information. I know you have to apply. I know you have to commit and find out what is required and really look into that. And if it's not that, then look into something else.
Wow.
So I don't know. I think, what was that 4 or 5 things that I had on my list?
Yes.
Okay.
And 5 times 5 is 25.
Right. So. That's true, Mindy. So
you're there.
Mindy and I together might read 25. Mindy, you probably have about 20 on your list, right?
I have. Hang on. Mine is known as the hot mess list. There's 42 things listed that are not. I'm telling you,
You tell us about yours, Mindy.
I need this podcast to end because as you talk, I add things and it gets longer.
Okay.
And I don't like this. I don't like a big list. Okay. So I'm going to start out very light. So some of the things that I already did, but incorporated once January 1st hit, these were natural things. And so I put them on the list so that I could say that I did them, because I do like to cross things off my list once they're on it. So one of the things we've talked about before is hushing your house. That was something after Christmas and everyone left. Pulling like couches a little closer together, taking Christmas out, cleaning off surfaces, kind of making the dining room table smaller. It's small and round now, not larger and oval, creating quiet, smaller conversation areas. And so that was something. I wanted to add some new color to my house, and I have done this. I've never added pink before, but I have added pink this season and I absolutely love it. I got a new pink wreath from TJ Maxx and some real life looking pink peonies that are in a glass on my countertop. And it is just the right color that is needed after Christmas, getting me into Valentine's Day.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty February color.
That was something. And then I ended up getting a heart wreath from TJ Maxx. It's one of those real looking green evergreen things. And it's got like 2 different color pink flowers in it. And it's shaped like a heart. And so I put that on my list. I want to decorate for other holidays and other seasons. And so I haven't done that in a really long time. When the kids were little, we would have crafts. But now I'm like, you know what? That heart wreath on my front door is giving me so much joy to see that. And so I'm kind of looking forward to having fun, decorating in very small ways for each season.
I like that.
All right. Another thing on my list was I needed to add lamps or replace lamps. Some lamps were too big, some were too small. And so Bryce and I actively went to a home goods store and talked through different lamps in different places in the house. And it's one of those things that it's like on your list or in the back of your mind for a long time, but hard to actually do. Well, we finally did it and it's brought me so much joy. I needed to add a lamp where I sit and journal and do my quiet time in the morning. And so it adds, I still need more light there, but I like the way it looks, so I'm not messing with it. But again, it kind of helps with hushing the house. I really like lamp light right now. I don't want overhead lights on. So that has been joyful. All right. Something also is I needed to update my glasses prescription. It had been several years. And so I'm actually wearing my new glasses right now and adjusting to my new prescription. I'm a little blinder than I used to be when I first put them on. I was like, whoa. She said, yeah. I was like, yeah.
So you can notice that you can see a lot better now.
Well, yes, I need to adjust. Now I need to add to my list to wear the glasses because I'm getting used to this new prescription. I mean, being able, it's just eyesight is leaving me faster than I can keep up with it. And I know you have both talked about this before. So I'm just kind of proud of myself for actually biting the bullet, going to the eye doctor, getting a new prescription, and just going through all that.
Yeah.
Along with that, here's some really easy things. I'm continuing to not wear mascara every day. That's brought me a lot of joy. I want to get layers in my hair this year.
Oh, okay.
More layers. So I'm already considering like a new hairstyle. It's going to stay long, but I want to add in more layers. I'm super excited about that. I want to sell my old clothes online. I have not done a good job at this. There's a great Facebook marketplace and also Facebook group for my area to sell clothes. And that's on my list of things to do.
Okay.
I'd like to stretch each day because stretching, I think, is one of the keys to life. I want to practice forgiveness. I want to practice seeking forgiveness. I want to wear my mouth guard. I'm waiting for it to come in from the dentist. I finally bit the bullet and went and got fitted for a mouth guard because I grind my teeth. They've been telling me for 20 years to wear a mouth guard. Have I listened? No. I'm listening now.
Okay, good.
Is this your example of feeling old, your mouth guard and your glass?
Oh my gosh. Yes, Julie. I'm going to continue to go to bed early at night, though, because there's just nothing wrong with that. I can't find anything wrong with that.
No.
Okay. I kind of laughed, Julie, when you mentioned your recipes for dinner, trying to come up with, you said 4 clean dinner recipes. Because something I put on my list was I want to at least incorporate one new recipe from all the recipes I have saved from online. Like, I'd like to put my phone to use and actually incorporate one of these awesome new recipes. I screenshot so many. So I've set the bar very low for myself and said, just do one. Because I know myself, and I know if I just do one, I'll do more.
Yeah.
Let's see. Go on college visits with Nathaniel. Have fun. Enjoy it. It's the last time. Oh, something fun. I'm hiring out cleaning in my house, but not to like a professional cleaner, to my sons that are trying to earn money. This has been the best life hack in the world. My boys, I have a couple that are wanting to earn more money. And I'm thinking, well, I don't want to clean those bathrooms. So I'm putting 2 and 2 together, and I'm hiring my sons to clean bathrooms.
Are they doing a good job?
Great idea.
Yes, because I go in and check.
Yeah.
I even provided a toothbrush for, certain areas.
So inspection comes before payment, I guess.
Yes. And so I'm really happy to be hiring them to do these things that I don't enjoy doing. All right. So other than that, it's a bunch of just spiritual disciplines that I'm focusing on. So I won't make a list. But those are just some fun things, some easy things, some hard things that I am trying to do.
Yeah. When you brought up new recipes, I thought one of my things I am trying to do this year is find a good bread recipe where I could make my own bread, like my own sandwich bread. And I have a friend who made a great loaf of bread for book club one night. And then I said, I love this so much. So I think she made me my own loaf. This was like a few years ago. And I've never tried her bread recipe. And so I finally got the bread recipe and I'm going to try it. Ironically, I had found the exact same bread recipe online and I tried it. It's just 5 ingredients. And it turned out so awful. And then I contacted her and said, what was your bread recipe? Because I think you said yours was 5 ingredients. So she emailed it to me. It was the same exact recipe. I said, what did I do wrong? I said, because I'm serious. It was so bad. And so it says that you have to dissolve 2 teaspoons or tablespoons, I'm not sure which, of maple syrup in water. And then you add it to the flour and make it. And I had just added the maple syrup. I didn't read far enough ahead and then added the water. And so I think maybe dissolving it in the water would make a difference. So it's on my goal for this week to try out the recipe the way it's supposed to be done. And hopefully it'll be better because I love the idea of 5 ingredients. It was fast. It was easy to make. I just want something that I could slice up for sandwiches.
Is that Judy's
yes,
whole wheat?
It's Judy's recipe.
I've made that. It is good.
Do you think it was a matter of me not letting the maple syrup dissolve in the water?
Maybe so. I mean, it is kind of on the dry side, dark wheat, It's not a real moist bread anyway. But
the thing is, I really loved it when she made it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That was the only thing I could think of retrying. So I'll have to let listeners know if it turns out better. Maybe it'll be I'm a fan if I can get the recipe down.
I don't know. I eat it as toast, though. I love it like that. But I don't know if I really want a sandwich.
No? Okay. Well, if you have a good sandwich bread recipe, I don't really want to do sourdough and all that. I want something easy. This didn't even require kneading or anything.
Okay.
It was very easy.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, Marie, like pretty much all food tastes better when somebody else makes it for me.
Well, that's true. That's true. Maybe it was just that she made it with love and gave it to me. And so it automatically was delicious.
So hint, hint, Judy, Marie needs some more bread.
I'll take weekly deliveries.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Well, listeners, we would love to hear your 25 for 25 or even your 5 for 25. I mean, you don't have to come up with 25 things. I would like to check in as the year goes on to see how we're doing on this. And we'd love to hear from you. You can find us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast, or you can email us at midlifematterspodcast@gmail.com.
And I just want to say, if one of the things that they talked about is what you do with your list, because, Mindy, you don't need to throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
You need to, I think I'm going to stick it on my fridge or my mirror in the bathroom somewhere and keep it, where I can see it every day, where I can look for it, Mindy.
Mm-hmm.
But some of her suggestions were on your screen, your lock image on your phone. That could be the thing that pops up. You could have your list there.
That's a good idea.
Or give yourself a reward for every bingo, every 5 in a row.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Are you going to have any bingo prizes, Julie?
Yeah, I feel like there should be that. Yeah, like for a vertical and a horizontal or a diagonal or whatever.
You get to order like $100 gift for yourself on Amazon or something.
I like that.
Oh my! I think if I accomplish one, I'm celebrating. Dude, way to go.
You know what? Give yourself a free space too.
True. Okay, now you only have to do 4 things, and then you get to order yourself something fun.
That's right.
All right. Well, before we go, I do want to do I'm a fan. Julie, what are you a fan of this week?
Well, I haven't been at home for a week, so I haven't been cooking, cleaning, doing anything like that. So I'm just going to say I'm a fan of Nevada. I had a trip planned to Disneyland in California, and we flew to Nevada and stayed there three nights and did hiking at places I'd never even heard of. Valley of Fire State Park and Red Rock Canyon. And then we did drive to Death Valley, but that is in California.
Okay.
So they were all just really spectacular. And it was great to be there in January because Death Valley is the hottest place on earth, 134 degrees. Outside the visitor center, they have a thermometer, and it read 71 degrees the day we were there.
That's perfect.
Wow.
It's like half of what it would be in the summer.
I know. So I really cannot even imagine stepping out of your car because we walked a mile out onto the salt flats, and I just can't even imagine. There's no shade anywhere.
Yeah.
And I just can't imagine being there. I don't know. I don't even think I would feel safe because you have to drive a really long distance. If your car broke down, you just melt,
Yeah.
And gas was $7 a gallon in the park.
Goodness. Okay.
Whoa.
Because it's probably one of the most remote places I've been. I mean, it's out there,
Okay.
but it was beautiful. So I'm thankful I got to go.
Wow, your pictures looked incredible, Julie.
Thank you.
I
It
love
was very pretty.
Yeah.
adventuring along through your pictures.
All right, Mindy, what are you a fan of this week?
All right. Well, while Julie was doing all of that, I did find a new show on Hulu that I can share with you, Julie. And ironically, Bryce and I happened upon this show, and it's only got 1 season. And so usually we wait until there's a lot of seasons. But this is actually a new show on Hulu. It's called High Potential, and we really enjoyed it. It is a crime-fighting, murder-solving type show. And the woman that it's centered around, she has a high IQ, but like her life is kind of a mess. She is a single mom with 3 kids, and you can tell she's a hot mess. And she dresses really fun, very California. Really, really fun, lots of color, kind of wild. And she's paired with this very type A neurotic detective guy. And they end up working together. And it's really an incredible kind of show. It's got a little comedy thrown in. Like, it's not dark. There's not a lot of like profanity. It was actually pretty clean and just kind of a fun little 8-episode new show. And so
that sounds cute.
We enjoyed it. And then I was super proud that we even caught the show as soon as it came out.
Look at you on the edge of the cultural phenomenon.
Tell you what.
You're not that old, Mindy. That should have made you feel young and hip.
Marie, I'm telling you, I'm either really old or really young.
Okay, this week I'm a fan of something that I need help with from listeners.
Ooh.
So when we went to Italy, we stayed in a great hotel and they had this fancy rooftop breakfast every morning, and the silverware, I fell in love with it. And I even took a picture of it. I looked at the back of it. I looked it up online. I felt like a princess using it. I was like, I need this silverware. Like I've had the same silverware for probably 20, 25 years. And periodically I reorder the teaspoons because that's what always gets lost. But I was like, this would actually be exciting for me to replace. Okay. So it's made by Broghi. It's Italian flatware. It's the Stiletto modern stainless steel 5-piece flatware set. It's $75 a place setting. And I typically like to have about 18 place settings. So that would be a lot of money. Money that I'm not going to spend on silverware. But I would love to find a dupe. And I Googled like Broghi dupes or, because all of their sets were really expensive. It must be a really nice line of silverware. But I thought maybe there's someone making something so similar out there. I would be happy to buy that. But I haven't been able to find anything. So if you like to look into stuff like this, I would love for you to contact with me. It's called Broggi. So that's the name of the Italian company. And it's the Stiletto modern stainless steel 5-piece flatware set. And they're just lovely. They just fit in your fingers. And they don't look like anything that fancy when you look at the picture online, but the weight of them is beautiful.
Yeah.
The size of the spoons, the tines of the forks. The knife was so delicate and yet actually cut really well. I just really liked it a lot.
Wow.
And I can't say that I've ever taken pictures of silverware in a hotel before. Like I've never said, I love using this silverware. I wonder if I could get it for myself. So it must have really made an impression on me.
You need a registry, Marie.
Yes. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, Marie.
Now, is it gold or stainless?
It's stainless, but I think they do offer a gold. But no, I want the stainless one. So if anyone knows dupes for this, please find us on Instagram or email me. Because this is an area where I really do want some kind of imitation. I really do need to replace my teaspoons. Like this is a need. I think I'm down to like 10. Like almost half my teaspoons are gone. So at some point I'm going to have to reorder it. It's like, I've been wanting to for a while, maybe mix it up. So listeners, would love it if you had a suggestion.
Ooh, keep us posted if you get some good suggestions. I'd love to know.
I will. Yeah. All right. I love this 25 for 25. Julie, you were completely inspiring. I'm sure you inspired everyone listening, and we definitely need to check back in.
If you want, I'll take a snapshot of my my list and you can post it. Or
yes, that would be awesome.
Fabulous.
Okay. All right, Julie and Mindy, we'll talk to you next week.
All right.
Sounds great.
Okay, bye. We're so happy you joined us today. You can find the show notes for this episode at midlifematterspodcast.com. Also, please tell a friend about the show and help them hit the free subscribe button on their favorite podcast app. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast. That's where we post pictures and stories about all the things we talk about in each episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.